Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the South Florida Water Management District Governing Board, welcome to the beautiful Allapattah Flats Wetland Reserve here in Martin County. Thank you all for being here today. Before we get started, I'd like to ask everyone to stand. It looks like most of you are. And I'd like to ask Mrs. Thurlow-Lippisch to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, Jacqui. My name's Chauncey Goss, and I have the honor of serving as chairman of the South Florida Water Management District, and we're really all very excited to be here today to celebrate the completion of this project. This project and all the environmental restoration projects we're working on at the district under the direction of Governor Ron DeSantis and with our state and federal partners are really crucial to the overall goal of getting the water right in South Florida. It's all about improving water quality, quantity, timing, and distribution of water while still protecting communities from flooding and making sure communities and the environment get the water that they need. We at the Water Management District have been working with our partners to do everything in our power to expedite and complete Everglades projects around the state, and we're seeing incredible and real results like those behind us today. This is a very exciting time for us at the district and for the environment and for South Florida, and I thank you all for being a part of it. Before we start today's program, I'd like to recognize the elected officials who took the time to be here with us today and to acknowledge the close partnerships that exist between the district, the municipalities, the counties, the Florida legislature, and our state and federal agencies that are so critical to the success of projects like Allapattah. We don't work alone, and we thank those who are on the path with us. We have Representative Toby Overdorf from District 83. Thanks for being here, Representative. John Schneider, Representative from District 82. Thanks for being here. I changed my order here. Hold on. County Commissioner Chair, is it Stacey Hetherington for Martin County? Thank you very much for being here. I'm sorry, my notes are a little bit fuzzy. And we've got some other Martin County Commissioners, Doug Smith, Sarah Hurd. Thanks very much for being here. From the City of Stuart, Becky Bruner. Thanks for being here, Becky, Commissioner. And we have the Martin County Clerk and Comptroller, Carolyn Timon. On behalf of Senator Gail Harrell, we have Darlene Van Reaper. Thank you, Darlene, for being here, and thanks Senator Harrell for all the great work she's doing for us. I also want to make sure I acknowledge the men and women of the governing board. Starting at the end here, we have Cheryl Meads from Monroe County, Charlie Martinez from Miami-Dade, Jacqui Thurlow-Lippisch hiding behind the flag from Sewell's Point, Jay Steinley from Palm Beach County, Vice Chair Wagner from Miami-Dade, and Charlotte Roman from Collier County, who is also chairman of the Big Cypress Basin Board. And I also want to thank the men and women of the South Florida Water Management District who, under the leadership of our executive director, Drew Bartlett, make projects like these, make celebrations like these possible. The hard work of our incredible staff and their commitment to the district's mission does not go unnoticed, nor is it taken for granted. And I know I speak for the whole governing board when I say thank you to all the staff who made this possible. Today we're going to have some remarks from a few key leaders. We'll cut the ribbon on this project. Then we'll have a special treat brought to us by the Busch Wildlife Sanctuary, so we're going to ask you to remain seated when that happens. Now I'd like to call upon my friend and someone who really doesn't need an introduction around here, someone I'm proud to serve with, Governing Board Member Jacqui Thurlow-Lippisch. I'd like to provide Jacqui the opportunity to welcome us to her community. Jacqui?
Hello, everyone. Newton Cook was just reminding me a few minutes ago that for many of us, We really haven't been able to speak for a year. It is so wonderful to see everybody here today. Wow, what incredible wetlands behind me. If you haven't had a chance to come up and look, please do. My name is Jacqui Thurlow-Lippisch, and I am a longtime resident of Martin County and a proud Governor DeSantis appointee at-large member of the South Florida Water Management Governing Board. Welcome, everyone, and especially welcome to my fellow governing board members. Please give them another round of applause. I always feel bad because I don't have to drive that far, but a lot of them really do. What you see behind me, Allapattah Flats, is part of the Indian River Lagoon South Project, a critical component of the comprehensive Everglades restoration plan. It will cleanse water of high nutrients benefiting our St. Lucie River. This project is a partnership. The South Florida Water Management District thanks the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, the Army Corps of Engineers, the Natural Resources Conservation Service, a division of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and most of all, we thank Martin County commissioners like Doug Smith and Sarah Hurd and all of the others who have helped buy lands over the many years, and our local taxpayers who have taxed themselves to raise money for these lands, millions and millions of dollars. Please give them a round of applause. There's always the person in the crowd or the group within the groups that doesn't get as much credit as they should. And so at this time, if they're comfortable, I would like to ask the Natural Resources Conservation Service, who is really responsible for what's behind us and all the work, to please come stand up here for a minute so the crowd can see you. I talked to you earlier, so come on up. Serious round of applause here, ladies and gentlemen. Serious round of applause. Hey, you're one of them too. Come on up. Great. These people have the specialized job of restoring our precious wetlands. I am very excited to say that other components of the SERP, Indian River Lagoon South Project, are also moving forward. These are also projects that Martin County commissioners over years have been pushing for, and St. Lucie County commissioners. These include the C-23, the C-24, and C-25 reservoir and stormwater treatment areas, and also the gigantic C-44 reservoir and STA off Citrus Boulevard in Martin County that should be completed next year. Prior to drainage, Allapattah Flats, natural wetland site, and all aforementioned project areas were part of a vast mosaic of marshes. On the 1839 General Zachary Taylor map, this was known as Allapattah Swamp. This wetland extended from the upper St. Johns River Basin to the headwaters of the St. Lucie River. Historic accounts refer to this wetland as a slough. In high water times, it functioned as a high water highway for Native Americans and early Florida pioneers. Today, we are restoring history. Thank you. Thank you, John Snyder, Representative Snyder. I love living on the Treasure Coast, in large part because of these natural areas and the environment you see here. In fact, in Martin County, we refer to this as our good nature. But there was a recent time when our nature wasn't so good. In 2013, most recently, 2016, and again in 2018, toxic algae devastated the ecology and economy of the St. Lucie River and Indian River Lagoon, while our friends on the West Coast lived through Armageddon. Old stormwater management systems, unnatural connections to Lake Okeechobee, and local runoff all plagued these precious resources. But from the ashes arose a diverse, outspoken, and passionate public demanding change. Governor DeSantis was voted in as part of that change. This governing board was put out as part of that change. You are here, and we will move forward as part of that change. Today's ribbon cutting is answering that call. A call of today, a call of 100 years. Thank you. We'll be seeing you again soon.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Jacqui. Let me tell you something. Jacqui Thurlow-Lippisch is an incredible representative for this area. And boy, does she hold me and all of our staff accountable to get things done. And we absolutely appreciate it. Jacqui, I'm one of your biggest fans. So here we are at Allapattah Flats. This piece of land, this natural restored area is 13,000 acres. 13,000 acres. How do you get your head around 13,000 acres? Well, that is about the size of Manhattan. And anybody who's been to Manhattan and said, we can walk those 10 blocks, that shouldn't be a problem. And then halfway through it, you say, let's just go ahead and get on the subway so we can get halfway up at Manhattan. That's how big this is. Can you imagine walking it? This is an incredible area, 13,000 acres of wetlands and wildlife habitat. And Jacqui, I don't know if you didn't notice, but when you were talking, there were birds flying in a flock over your head. It was quite picturesque. So our staff here at the Water Management District got to work to restore the hydrology of this area. They put 14 miles of berms up. That's a half marathon. They put 12 water control structures and 19 ditch plugs throughout here to get this hydrology restored. And that's the critical piece here. What we don't want is water running through ditches and canals off these lands and towards the St. Lucie estuary, carrying what it carries to that estuary. We want it to stay here. We want it to create wetlands. We want it for the wildlife. And that's exactly what we're doing with this piece of land. 13,000 acres, the size of Manhattan. Now, this wouldn't be possible, as we've said, without the staff at the Water Management District doing it. So of course it's January, and we have teams of the month at the Water Management District. And so naturally, the Allapattah Ranch Wetlands Reserve Program team is our January team of the month. And I would like to announce their names. Stand up where you are if you're here so we can give you a full round of applause. Scott Cowham, David Lauder, Chad Burnsed, Keith Pendry, Chad Siefker, Jack Thirault, Jeff Emick, Jason Thomas, Matt Thomas, Carl Baker, Kent Farmer, Richard Boda, Laura Riley, and MD. You standing? Let's give you a round of applause. Our team of the month. Incredible, incredible work. I'd also like to thank all the good folks at the Okeechobee Field Station for getting this event ready. This is a beautiful event, and it looks fabulous out here. Thank you very much. One other thing I'd like to mention. The C-44 stormwater treatment area was finished yesterday. We are putting water in all 6 cells right now at that stormwater treatment area. In fact, we're having to govern a little of the water going into cell 6 because snail kites are nesting in there. Awesome for snail kites, these stormwater treatment areas. Wonderful, wonderful work, staff at the Water Management District. And I'd like to turn it back to Chairman Goss. This is Drew reporting from Allapattah Flats. Back to you, Chairman.
Don't forget that. Let's see. We've got Chairwoman. We go to Juan Hernandez of the USDA's Natural Resource Conservation Service. Juan, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So my name is Juan Hernandez, a state conservationist for the NRCS, Natural Resources Conservation Service. I have to be the luckiest person in NRCS in a long time. Why? I got here 6 months ago after I'm from Puerto Rico, but this is my very first time in 22 years that I can say that I'm enjoying being in the middle of the winter. Being 11 years in Maine, this is remarkable. I'm still wrapping my arms around this is winter. So delighted to be here for many, many reasons besides the beautiful weather. I am the luckiest state conservationist to actually cut. This is my first ribbon cutting event for a WRP, by the way. And this happens to be the largest easement, single easement of NRCS in the whole nation. So call it lucky. Yeah, we started this road in 2003. Yes, a long time. 18 years, by the way, is not the average that we want to really get these projects done, but it happens. It's very complex. And this is true to understand the complexities and what it takes to do this. In fact, by looking what's behind me is very deceiving many times. And it looks so nice and so simple that many times people don't understand what it takes to do something like that. So it's like, really? Took you that long to do that? So it's a lack of comprehension of the complexities, but that's the beauty. We did it. Everybody did a fantastic job, but when you look at it, you don't see the signs of the bulldozer anywhere to be found. That is a sign of a job well done. So with that said, the largest, and I'm looking forward to cut that ribbon at some point in the game here, but what I wanted to establish and what I wanted to really state is a thank you. The number one thing that I'm here for is, like everybody else that have done, I wanted to really sincerely thank you, everybody. It's a lot of time, a lot of passion, a lot of effort that goes into these projects. They're not simple, like I stated. So I don't want to start mentioning names because I'm bound to leave somebody behind, but I do want to strongly acknowledge the South Florida Water Management District, because without them as an applicant, as the actual individual that we did business and we completed the business, this would have never happened. So with that said, this easement, these wetlands, will offer significant support, like you heard before from other speakers, to wildlife, fish and wildlife. It will help with recharging of the underground water resources. It will help with water quality, with the filtration of sedimentation and harmful chemicals. And as well, it will provide educational and recreational benefits, not only next year or 5 years. Folks, this is a perpetual easement. This will be for generations to come. And not only actually within the boundary either. Everybody has been mentioning this goes far beyond the boundaries of this easement. It goes to the watershed health. It goes to the local economy. I can go on and on for 2.5 days. So I wanted to once again thank you. So my two purposes, thanking everybody involved, extremely done, well done. I am really impressed. And number two, to get the benefits and the significance of project like these. I wanted to wrap up say we have 3 million acres in the whole nation protected under this program, to give you perspective. And I don't want to call on Ronnie real here or put him in the spot, but I think that we have 200,000 in Florida alone? So give you perspective, 3 million nationwide. We're hosting 200,000 acres in the state of Florida alone. Just to give you perspective of how well represented we are and how much forward we're going to be continuing to do these type of projects and how we're going to benefit the whole state. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to get to know as many of you, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Juan. Now I'd like to welcome Chairwoman Stacey Hetherington with Martin County. Thanks very much for having us here today.
All right, Stacey.
Good morning, everyone. I don't think we could have asked for a more beautiful day to be out here this morning. I'm Stacey Hetherington, Chair of the Martin County Board of County Commissioners, and I wanted to thank the South Florida Water Management District for hosting this morning and take a couple minutes to talk about how this subject behind us and whatever all the former speakers just talked about are so close to our hearts here. It's something that brings us together, all together, as Jacqui mentioned earlier, even in the most contentious years. It drives us to be better and encourages all to want to take care of this place that we call our home. And literally, I call this my home. I grew up just a couple miles that way. And when I was as big as those ant piles practically, my dad used to drag me out here hunting. So this is really, truly home. We live in such an area with rich history. We have fertile soil, beautiful beaches and coastal waterways. The land and water have a natural connection to us. But in some places, that connection was broken. As once the water flowed, was turned into man-made canals, dikes, and ditches, restoration and protection require fortitude and ongoing commitment from all of us. And it's up to us to be stewards of the land. In Martin County, water is as important as anything. Like the air we breathe, water is a life source from recreation and relaxation to commercial industry, economic influence, and the water is ingrained in our way of life in Martin County. Clean local waterways are critical to the health of our community, our economy, our residents, and the surrounding areas. Maintaining and improving water quality is essential to protect public health, quality of life, fisheries, wildlife, and watersheds to ensure opportunities for public recreation and economic development. In the late 90s, Martin County was fortunate that voters felt it in their heart and passed a bond referendum and sales tax for the purpose of acquiring lands within SERP, including the IRL South and other environmentally significant lands. Again, in 2006, the voters approved a sales tax referendum, and we used in part for the land that we stand on here today, Allapattah Flats. What a beautiful project it turned out to be. Our board continues to advocate at the state and federal levels for funding and completion of water quality projects. We continue to invest significantly in this crucial effort. We become a leader in the development of improvement projects in our region for water protection, conservation and restoration, and public use and recreation. Nearly 20 years ago, when Commissioner Smith testified before Congress, he said, "We have benefited from living in an area flush with the wonders of the Everglades ecosystem, and we have recognized our solemn duty to preserve this marvelous asset for future generations." I think as we stand here today with you and we look around at the area that we are blessed to have and the partnerships that we have continue, it's truly an example of the strength of our convictions and the sum total of combined efforts. And it's a shining example of what hard work and partnerships can achieve. Together, we double our efforts. Together, we increase our resources. Together, we do great things. And together, we can preserve this marvelous asset and many others in the future generations. And we look forward to partnering with you many, many times over in the future. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Chairwoman, and thanks to you and your commission and to the residents of Martin County for making this happen. It's amazing. I think we're now to the good part. Are we? Take photo. Yeah, I think so.
2, 1.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Amy Kight. I am the Executive Director of the Busch Wildlife Sanctuary. For those of you who don't know about the sanctuary, we're a wildlife hospital and educational facility, and we focus our efforts on native Florida wildlife. We have been very lucky, blessed, grateful to have a wonderful partnership with the South Florida Water Management District. Not only were we their charity of choice a couple years ago, where their staff raised tens of thousands of dollars to put towards our animals and to help us out, but they've also been so generous as to allow us to use these amazing areas that they are preserving to return our animals back out into the wild. There's really not a lot of use for us to save the animals if there's no habitat for them. So these endeavors they're priceless, and they're so needed and they're so necessary, and we feel very honored to be able to utilize them in such a unique way. So we were invited today to bring out one of the animals and actually return them back out to their natural habitat. Pardon the pun, this was kind of a sticky situation because this particular bird was caught in a glue trap. Came into us covered in glue and debris. It's actually a little blue heron, but you'll notice it's white. Because if you know anything about them, when they're juveniles, they're actually white in color before they turn blue as they age. So you're going to see it and go, she'll know what she's talking about. But I promise. I have no idea what the bird is going to do. You never do. We'll open the lid up, and hopefully I'll get a chance to kind of pull him out for some photos and send him off back into his habitat here. But we'll see. It's gone. On the count of three. One. You know what to do. 2, 3.
There we go. Hey. Good job.